Hi, I'm Ariam, and this clip should appear in 3 videos. So, there is this readathon called the Magical Readathon, or the Really a Readathon, that happens every April and September, which your character goes to a magical university called Orilium. And to get there, they have to take the Novice Path. And to do that, you can. It's very optional, but you can do that, and I want to. Do prompts of what is on the Novice Path. The Novice Path starts from the Novice Path entrance. You go through the Ashton Tree, the Mist of Solitude, the Ruin of the Sky, the Obsidian Falls, the Tower of Rumination, and Aurelium Academy. And I actually thought there were 6 prompts. There are 7 prompts. And I have 3 characters. So I was planning to do 2 for each character. And I'm still doing that because the Tower of Ruminations prompt is read a 5-star prediction, and that's just not really a thing I do. So I have 3 characters, Miriam, Rafaela, and Radha. Radha actually has been to Orilium Academy anymore as like a teenager, but she had this adventure. She went to the Fae, because she grew up in Orilium City, and she ended up in the Fae lands, and she's coming back to actually properly learn to be a Fae Wilds cartographer. But let's see. I haven't exactly decided what Miriam or Phil are learning. But let's see what prompts I'm going to do for each character, and then these will each be and then I will drop into video for each character where I choose the books for those prompts. So let's start with Miriam, because her name starts with it's in alphabetical order. Her name is first. You can see this, right? Ruin of the Sky. Okay. Then her other prompt is no Mist of Solitude. Great. Now, next in alphabetical order is Radha. And we get Ash Thorn Tree. And Orilium Academy. Makes a lot of sense for her to get Orilium Academy. And then finally, obviously, Rafaela gets Novice Path entrance and Obsidian Falls. So I will see you in the videos. Okay, so for Radha, we have the Ashthorn Tree, a book that keeps tempting you, or top of your TBR. And for that, I want to read Bigger Than a Bread Box, which I wanted to read for years, just because I've loved the cover. It's a middle grade magical realism book, I think. 12-year-old Rebecca is struggling with her parents' separation, and her parents have just divorced. She just moved to her grandmother's house, and then she finds a magic bread box in the attic. I really hope I like it, because there was a similar book that I just read that I did not like similar summary. Then, Orilium Academy, book with the school setting, obviously. So, for that, I want to read Heretics Anonymous, which is also has been on my TBR for a long time. So, this is about these kids who are in a Catholic school, and we're following an atheist who joins a group of other kids who are not Catholic. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It sounds kind of crazy. It's a YA, so middle grade and YA. Okay, hey, it is December 28th, and I started reading Bigger Than a Bread Box by Laurel Snyder today, which was for the Ashland Tree, which is for one of my most anticipated books, or the top of my TBR. And I'm 75% of the way through. I read 171 pages today. That's partially because this is an extremely quick read, and partially because I ended up having a lot of time because the bus was However, I waited 55 minutes at the bus stop for the bus to come, and then I got stuck for 20 minutes trying to leave the bus area. So yeah, I had a lot of time to read, and I am quite enjoying this. Is this my favorite book ever? No. However, I am not 12 years old. I'm not who this book is made for. So I do have to take, I do feel like when I read a book like this, a YA or a middle grade book, I do have to take my feelings with a grain of salt, whether it's to the good or to the bad, because this book at the end of the day is not written for me, you know? However, I am enjoying this a lot. So, did I even tell you what this book is about? So, basically, we are following our main character, Rebecca, and her parents, excuse me, her parents are going through a separation. Her mother just one day ups and says, she's been seeing her parents fight a lot, and one day her mother ups and says, come on, I'm taking your little toddler brother, and we're going to stay at my mom's house in Atlanta. And then when they get there, she's like, surprise, we're not just staying here, we're staying here. You're getting enrolled in school. And obviously our main character is not a fan of all this. Very understandable, you know, someone's just totally uprooted her life, taken away from everything she loves, with no warning, and including from her dad. And she happens to find a bread box. And and she can wish for anything that will fit inside a bread box, and it will appear in that bread box. So, like, she can say, I wish I had a book, and a book will appear in there. She can say a specific book, right? And that book will appear in there. And it goes on from there. We kind of follow her dealing with stuff at home, her complicated feelings about her mom, and what her mom's done, her complicated feelings in general, and then also at school where she is trying to remake herself into this new cool girl, but finds herself in a very toxic friendship. And yeah, so I was kind of nervous going into this because I read a book that kind of had actually had an extremely similar premise, not the family separation, but of a change, a girl who is, in this case she's new in school, in that case she was being bullied at school, and a item that they can wish for, and that thing will appear. And that was Joplin Wishing, and I did not like it at all. I felt like it was doing way too much. And despite the fact that this is doing a lot, I feel like the author is balancing it very well. Like, that one I felt like in Joplin Wishing, I felt like the magic and what was going on in school and in her real life were two very different stories. And I felt like she should have just chosen one of them. In this one, I feel like they're all mashed together. The magic red box is influencing what's going on in her real life. Her real life is influencing why she's wishing on a magic red box or what she's wishing for. And it feels all very well put together. So, yeah, I think, however, I just got to the part, 75% in, just gently where things go down, and she's just done something she knows she shouldn't have. At the same time, she's like she knows it's dangerous. At the same time, she's like, it's an adventure. I love 12-year-olds. And yeah, that does feel like a very 12-year-old thing to do. Honestly, it also feels like a very adult thing to do. I think, like, you get to the age where you can realize that something is a bad idea and be like, well, it sounds fun, so I'll do it anyways. However, she's not quite mature enough to put to try to make it safer in any way. I do not think anything actually bad is going to happen to her. I'm actually a bit nervous because I don't really see how this is going to go in a direction that I will enjoy at this point because of what she has just done and is about to do. But yeah, I do not actually have that many pages left. I have around 52 pages left, so hopefully I should be able to finish it tomorrow. Hey, it's the next day, and as I said, I managed to finish bigger than a bread box today, and yeah, I really liked it. I don't think I have anything more to say, just an update on that plot point. It went to a totally different place than I was expecting. It went to a kind of crazy place, but in a good way. I really liked it. I will say the last paragraph of this book annoyed me. It was very like, and here's the lesson we're all learning from this. Which, if you've seen anything, basically, I've said before, I hate that. But yeah, that was the very last paragraph. I think we can totally ignore that. And overall, I really enjoyed this book. I definitely want to read more from Lauren Snyder. Yeah, so that was great. And now I finished the ash thorn. And now Radha has gotten past the ash thorn tree. Hello, it's January 2nd, and I started a book for Orilium Academy arc. Obviously, that's supposed to be the last stage of the journey, but this book is also for another readathon that I'm doing that's taking place in January. It can't just be any time like this, and so that's why I started it. So the book is Heretics Anonymous. This is a book I wanted to read for a long time. It's a YA book about a group of teenagers who go to Catholic school, and they're and they don't quite fit in. We do have we have like a character who's Catholic but doesn't really fit in, three characters who are kind of vaguely religious but not Catholic, and our main character is an atheist who has been sent to the school by his father, who keeps on moving the family all around. So I am really enjoying this book. I'm 133 pages in, and I am really enjoying it. At the same time, I do have some complaints. Like, our character falls in love with another character really quickly, and I did not enjoy that at all, how quickly he falls in love with her, but but I feel like as I get older, the easier I find it to ignore these things. So there is that. And then I have something which is both good and a complaint, which is that there's a Jewish character, and on one hand, the author obviously does not understand Judaism at all, and on the other hand, she understands it more than most non-Jews do. So you know what? I'm going to give her brownie points for that, and I'm going to ignore the fact that she doesn't really understand it, because you know what? She tried. She tried, and that is worth so much. Other than that, the book is going pretty much how I had expected to go, and I like that. I wanted to read this book because I expected to go a certain way. And so yeah. So yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. Hello. It is December. I mean, not December. It's January 4th. And I am on page 281 of Heretics Anonymous, and I'm really enjoying it. There was a hot second there where I thought I was not going to enjoy it because it switched to what felt to me like that the author wasn't really looking at it like through a Catholic lens. Not that I'm Catholic, but it felt like an outsider looking in. And then, but at the same time, I was thinking maybe because they're teenagers. I know as a teenager I would enjoy it much more because I would have had less nuance in my brain, right? And then the author did. She put that nuance in, and yeah. So, but it was a hot second. And yeah, I'm also really enjoying this book, but it's also making me realize how far I am from not only who I was as a teenager, but also like being a teenager in general. Like, there's the situation that happens to this character, and it's a very not good situation. And he understands, and he goes kind of off the rails. And I was reading it, I was thinking about, like, as a teenager, I would have totally understood him. Like, I would have probably done something even crazier. But, like, as an adult reading it, and, like, I was in a very, very similar situation to what made him go off the rails literally the other night. And did I act perfectly calm and everything? No, obviously not. But I just can't relate to the going off the rails anymore like I did as a teen, which is very, very interesting. Like, also today at work, we had a new person come in, and she has a lot of knowledge and stuff, but she's also 21, and you can kind of, I don't want to, and you can kind of like see the difference in like she has less life experience, and people think I'm mean when I'm saying that, and I'm not being mean when I'm saying that. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, like, there is a difference you can see. Like, you can also see it. Nobody thinks it's mean when, like, I say you can see, like, a 40-year-old has more life experience than me and more knowledge in the world. But, like, yeah, I don't know. There's still differences. In some ways, I feel like a 21-year-old is closer to a teenager than mid-20s. but obviously it depends on the person, nuance, whatever. Yes, I'm not trying to hype myself up here. What I'm saying is just that reading a YA book has made me realize how much I've changed, and from what I was as a teenager, and because I know how I would have reacted as a teenager and how I would have felt about this book, and I feels, and the way he acts feels, I know as a kid I would have, as a teenager, I felt it to be so relatable, and I don't. Another aspect about this book I like is that our main character, his relationship with his parents is not great, and it's very understandable why, but also it kind of comes into tension with another character whose situation with her mom is like really not great, and she has a very different way of dealing with it, and I really like that piece. So it's January 5th, and I finished Heretics Anonymous. And unfortunately, the ending did not do it for me. This was never going to be my favorite book or anything. I wasn't like gagging over it, but I was quite enjoying it, and I did not like the ending. So I didn't like the ending for a few reasons. Let's put them actually to two reasons. One is actually a lesser one, even though it's one I complain quite a lot about in other books, but in this book, in this case, it's a lesser one, and that is that the ending was very romance focused. As I said, wait 1 second, I need to let the cat out. As I said, um, I did not like the insta love, but I couldn't ignore it. And at some point, Michael and Lucy do get together, but it seems very natural. But the ending, like, it makes sense. But the ending, oh, he's sitting next to the heater. The kitty cat is sitting next to the heater. But the ending was very romance focused, and that's just not for me, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not for me. Now, the thing I really did not like is, well, I'm going to start this with a minor complaint because it really annoyed me, and it definitely added to why I didn't like this ending. And that complaint is, remember how I was giving the author brownie points for knowing stuff about Judaism? Well, I'm taking them all away because apparently she's Christian and she does not know anything about the Bible. Okay, I'm not anything, but she mixes up the how do you call it? The chronology. And it's not even a chronology where it's like, oh, this book takes place before this book, but it's put after that. Like, it's not even a chronology where book Y takes place after book X, but it occurs before book X, or a chronology where it's like in the same book you have different stuff happening and it's not written in chronological order. It's Judges and then Kings, and she mixes up and thinks Kings is before Judges, and somehow this got past not only her, who's a Christian, but editors. It got past editors as well. How do you mess up such a simple basic thing? Like, obviously I'm Jewish and not Christian, so I have less to remember, but well, less 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 of that. A lot more of other stuff. But yeah, that's so basic. How do you get that wrong? Especially like as a practicing Christian. But this does kind of lead into why I didn't like the ending, which is that despite the fact despite the fact that our main character doesn't become religious. And I was thinking about it. I finished this around like 10 o'clock, and I was thinking all day, why did I not like this book? Like, why is the ending? Because I felt like the ending is feeling to me like, oh, our main character has become, from an atheist, he's turned to religious. And he doesn't. He still declares at the end that he's not religious, but it still felt to me like he did. And I think it's because he. Mm, how do I put this? Obviously, the author is coming from a Christian point of view, which is fine, obviously. But one of the things a Christian point of view does, at least if you grow up and live somewhere where Christianity is a majority or the majority base, even if there are more atheists than Christians in America. I don't know if that's true, but let's say there are more atheists than Christians in America. The base of the country is still Christian. Public services are closed on Sunday, for instance, which is just a tiny example. But I feel like I've noticed for a lot of Christians who grow up in that situation, and also non-Christians who grow up in the situation, even if they grew up non-Christian, they don't realize that their worldview is still based on, I suppose, a Christian culture. Like, our main character made clear that he doesn't believe in God, and I believe him, and that he doesn't believe in Christianity, and I believe him, and that he's not going to convert anytime soon, and I believe him. However, there's this whole idea of love being a religion. Now, that's not an idea I have a problem with. It's not Judaism idea, but it's an idea I've come across in lots of books, and I don't mind it at all. I think it's quite nice. However, our main character really goes into this. Like, he's really like, love is my religion, and not in a happy way. And he brings up all these Christian metaphors, and that, together with what someone in a Goodreads review pointed out, that church feels like the only community in this world. Like, the words church and community are synonymous in the book, basically. And you can disagree with me on that, or with that Goodreads reviewer on that, but I think, well, it might not be literally true. There is very much a strong vibe of, oh, church is synonymous with Christianity. Love is synonymous. Church is synonymous with community. Christianity or love is synonymous with Christianity, not Christianity with love, or love is synonymous at least with religion. And so, despite the fact that our main character does not convert to Christianity and he doesn't believe in Christianity, it still felt like a conversion novel to me, because our main character starts off as someone who doesn't see these things as religious, and then does end up, yeah. I'm not even, the more I'm talking, the more I agree with myself. He starts off as someone who doesn't see these things as religious, and then ends up as someone who does see these things as religious, even though he declares that he has no religion. And that's fine, but it's not what I wanted out of this book at all. I am not Christian. I am not interested in reading things where people get closer to Christianity. There's nothing wrong with those books, but I'm Jewish, and oh my god, there is a history. So, yeah, do I hate this book? No. Would I recommend it? Not to Jews. To Christians or to people who are not Christian but don't have a bad history with Christianity? Yeah, and actually I saw a lot of people who loved this book who did have a bad history with Christianity. So maybe for those people as well. But yeah, this book was very much not for me, and I did not like the ending. And it was just the ending. It was for me until the ending. I mean, obviously there were points that I pointed out that weren't for me, but that ending. I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed. Like, yeah, I'm not meaning it as like the stereotypical sentence, but there have been books where I've read, like, the ending, it just made me so mad because I'm like, why did you ruin such a good book? And this one I'm just like, oh, that's where we were going. Well, anyways, I've talked for 8 minutes about how disappointed I am, so I should leave this book behind and move on. So it's a day later, but I want to add some stuff because I've had more time to think about it. And I think there are some stuff that I want to add. One, I was thinking about what I said about young people, and I think there is probably a tendency that I personally have to be like, oh, if they're doing that and they're young, it's because they're young and they haven't matured yet. And if they're doing that and they're old, it's because they aren't mature yet. So, I don't know. Anyways, I worked with that person today. Again, it was very nice. Um, yeah. Anyways, what else? The other thing I wanted to say is about the church's community thing. Like, it's not wrong. Church is community, right? But it's not the only community that exists. And I think what that person from Goodreads and I were trying to get at is that the book made it feel kind of like church is the only community. Now, I have much less of a problem with that than love equals religion thing, because um, our main character moves around constantly, so he never got to experience other community, right? But I do think, you have a Jewish character right there. You can totally uh, add in different types of community other than church. But yeah, the main thing I have a problem with is love equals religion. That really did annoy me. But that's all. I think we can end this vlog and stop harping about that book. Or, well, for one of the vlogs I'm filming this book, the clips for this book. I'm filming for 2 vlogs. So if you're on the uh, Novice Path vlog, then I'm ending the vlog. If you're on the level 6 vlog, then I'm not ending the vlog. I'm actually just going to about to go and film another clip.